Well, hey folks, my name is Brad, and maybe you can tell from the beautiful New England stone wall that's behind me. Today I am up in the mountains of Vermont around the ruins of an old homestead. Now, I don't know a ton about the folks that used to live here, but I do know they were here at the end of the 1800s and that it was a family farm. And I suspect they dropped a few things while they lived here. So today I brought my metal detector to see if we can find some of that stuff. Now, if this is one of my first videos you've seen, I post one of these every single Friday. So if you like what you see today, consider subscribing to see more, or just come on back next week. I'm gonna get started and see what we can find. Well, I just got a somewhat common find for up here in the mountains of Vermont, but every time I find one, I try to imagine the story that it tells. You can see here, it was actually quite deep. It's a mostly, well, it looks like it's all brass construction pocket knife, except for the blades, of course, they would have been iron. And actually, it looks like maybe it was just one blade. But what do you suppose happened to this particular pocket knife? This scale is bent right over sideways. The blade is gone. You can see here this piece of iron back here would have been the locking spring. If I were to take a guess, I would say the original owner had the blade in something and was prying it far too hard, and that was the result. Blade busted off, scale got bent, tossed it on the ground in a fit of rage. And whenever I find a knife like this, I'm always reminded about the knife that I carry. I've carried this same pocket knife for well over 10 years and never busted a blade off, never lost it, but I don't live in the 1800s up here in the mountains. I'm sure this would have had much more significance to them than me using it to open my mail and cut string. Interesting find that tells a good story. Well, about a minute ago, I just found this strange little piece of brass. It sounded fantastic on the metal detector. And once I got it out, I thought it was, maybe a piece of flashing from the house, but it appears to have hinges on it. Really not sure what that is. Maybe like a top to a interesting little box. Not sure. But it got me interested enough to really slow down and investigate every tiny little squeak that my metal detector made in this little area to see if maybe I could find more of it. And I just found something else, probably totally unrelated to this, that I think is pretty cool. So you can see it's a piece of iron, and when I first saw it, I said, maybe it's like a hinge, a piece of wagon. And I kind of smacked it against my shovel a little bit, and you can see, hopefully, right here, underneath there is lines, because this is actually an old file. Once I realized that, I could see here now, this is where the handle would have been. Makes you wonder what they were using this for. The first thing that comes to my mind is sharpening tools. I have been lucky enough in my time out here in the past to find a couple grindstones used for sharpening, but this would have been more work, but would have worked just fine, I think. Cool old file with a broken handle, unfortunately, and whatever this is. Well, the road is right behind me, and the water rushes down the road, and this area that I'm standing in right now is a swamp. It's saturated with water. Typically when I'm filming these, I'm on my knees, but I'm crouching on my feet right now because it's so wet here. But I got a pretty nice target, and I should have got the cameras out ahead of time. It was like a 92, 93, but I didn't, and it's a coin. I'm pretty sure. You can see here, it has been in the water for who knows how long. So it's got this orange. What in the world is that? I thought it was a coin. It might still be. It is a coin. Man, I think it has a counter stamp on it. Or it's something I don't recognize. When I pulled it out, I thought for sure it was a coin. And then I saw that and I was like, it must be a button, but it's way too thick. And then I'm gonna wash it off over here. I look at the back and I'm pretty sure that's a large cent design. Yeah, it is a large cent. but it has a stamp on it. So there you can see the, I believe, left-facing bust of Lady Liberty, but around the edges here, there's this strange stamping, and it almost looks like what you would see on like silver spoons, like a little maker's mark. I wonder if they were like practicing using their stamp on this coin. I don't know, it's very bizarre. If I get this cleaned up and I'm able to decipher any more information on what those little letters are, I'll certainly let you know. But that is an extremely interesting find. You know, a large cent, they made so many of them. When you find one, it's exciting because it's old, but very similar to the last one you may have found. But something like this that is very unique gets me very excited. I cannot wait to hopefully find out what this is all about. Even if I don't, it's a unique find. Maybe you can see behind me there is some stacked stone. This is part of the foundation of the building, kind of going around the edges of it. And I just got a pretty deep, large brass tone. I dug it up, and we have an old spigot. Now, judging by this end, it's not a barrel tap. So barrel taps would have had this kind of long, tapered cylinder that would have plugged into the barrel. This is threaded, so this more than likely would have been on like a big, maybe copper pot, and you could let the fluids come out the bottom of that. Don't believe this would have connected to a pipe, maybe, but they obviously didn't have running water here. This strikes me as being attached to one of these big copper pots. Pretty cool find. You can imagine folks were using this thing every day just for daily life. One question I get asked all the time is, how deep do these metal detectors actually search? How deep are the things that you're finding out here? And in the forest, things are generally very shallow, within the first maybe 6-7 inches. In a field that's plowed, things can be much deeper, of course, because it gets turned under. But out here, the depth is depending on how much leaf litter falls over the years, turns into soil, and builds up on top of the object. But we have turkeys and deer and roots that push stuff up to the surface again. And this thing I just found was barely under the topsoil. I don't know, maybe it wasn't even. Maybe the leaves were just on top of it. I kicked it away, I double checked, I did this, and there it was. And that could be for a lot of different reasons. There could be a root here that pushed it up, frost heaves. But just a little while ago, I found a fairly modern rifle cartridge that was 6 inches down. So you just never know. What we have here is a beautiful, what looks like mostly complete suspender clasp. It looks very delicate. You can see here, there's a whole bunch of swirls that we can see on the back. Can't really make that out on the front right now. I suspect because there was a plating on here, which over time has corroded a bit and kind of filled in those holes, but very pretty, inexpensive stamped design. I'm gonna guess the end of the 1800s or maybe even early 1900s. You don't find them in this little oval shape very often. Kind of interesting. Great find, very shallow. Easy to find things in this particular area for whatever reason. Let's keep searching. So, for one reason or another, today, here at this place, I'm finding a ton of lead pipe. You can see a piece of it here. Just one piece of my large collection today. And they always sound so good on the metal detector. A little bit disappointing when you find another piece of lead pipe. And I thought for sure that's what this was going to be. But then I saw a strange piece poking up. right here. This is made out of lead. You can see I hit it with my shovel and it's shining. I think this is a toy gun. A tiny little lead toy gun. Absolutely incredible. Don't find toys very often. A couple years ago now, I found a tiny little lead axe. But this, I mean, I'm wondering if it actually fired as a toy. You can see that the trigger down here would have attached to this. You can assume this would have swiveled. There's a little dish right here. I don't know, but that is such an awesome find. So cool. Unfortunately, it looks like the end is missing. I'm not sure how much longer this would have been. Not too much, I don't think. Wow. Tiny little toy gun. Man, that's a unique find. I'm so glad I did not just throw this in my bag with the rest of the lead. I would have figured it out eventually, but I'm happy I can share this moment with all you folks. Super cool. A couple months ago, I found a large iron spoon shoved in an old stone wall, and talked about how I never find things in stone walls. I always check, but so far the best thing has been a spoon. Well, I just found something else in a stone wall, and it is a mystery to me. It looks familiar, so maybe some of you folks can help me out with this. You can see right behind this fern, under these leaves, it seems like somebody found this metal detecting previously and stuck it there. It's this tin, I think, container. It's broken in the back, but it would have been solid, with all of these little holes in the top. Now, my first impression is that it would have been for powder. You shake it and powder comes out. But for some reason, because the bottom is all busted out, it almost feels like a bed warmer. Rub it in your bed, warm it up at night. I have no idea. If anybody out there recognized this peculiar item, there's nothing inside, unfortunately. It looks like it's screwed together. You let me know. I think I'm going to keep it in the wall just like I did the spoon, unless one of you says, wow, that is a one of a kind. Maybe I'll come back out and get it, but I have a feeling that's not going to happen. Let me know what you think. Man, I got dirt on my face everywhere. Well, when metal detecting a place from the end of the 1800s, there's several things that you're almost guaranteed to find. And this particular place, I'm finding all of those things. I've got the bridle rosette, I've got the pocket watch piece, a spoon, of course, and an oil lamp. I think all we're missing is a couple horseshoes, and if you're playing bingo at home, you may have won. One of the other things that we seem to always find are harmonica reeds. And again, this place is no exception. We've got 1, 2, 3 harmonica reeds, plates that would have made 1.5 harmonicas. And I just found a harmonica reed plate that never seen one like it. So this is the standard size for pretty typical diatonic harmonica. There would have been 2 of these, one for breathing in, one for breathing out. And I just found this guy. You see, if we look at it close, we do have some fragments of the reeds left. But I have never seen one so small. You can imagine, it would have been like this big. And it goes along really well with that toy gun we found earlier. Child-sized harmonica, playing along with mom and dad playing their adult-size harmonicas. I know this place looks like forest now, but back in the time, most of these trees would not have been here. You can imagine rolling hills with the big mountains in the background, family sitting on their porch playing their harmonicas. It's a cool image. And we have pieces of it here. I don't know where the rest of this one went. Tiny, tiny harmonica. Well, it's getting towards the end of the day, and it's been a while since I found anything interesting, so I'm starting to dig kind of these scratchy tones that I was passing by earlier in the day. And I got a very kind of jumpy target on the metal detector here. I dug the hole, pulled the plug out, and you can see it appears to be like a kettle handle. Probably not quite as old as the ones we're finding at the native trade site, but pretty old anyways. Looks like it might even be handmade. And I rechecked the hole as I always do, and there was a beautiful target down there. And I dug a little bit more, and if you can see this, it looks like there's a coin. Tell what it is? Oh yes. 1 cent. Yeah, not in too bad a shape. You can probably see that since this one was not sitting in water most of its life, it has a nice green sheen to it. Awesome. I don't know if we're gonna get a date. Probably not. These unfortunately don't hold up in the ground super well up here. 2 cents. Can you imagine $1 would have been a stack of 100 of these? I'd say that was a good ending for the day, given it's been a while since I found anything else. I'll check the hole one more time just to be sure, the surrounding area, just in case they had a hole in their pocket, and then we'll wrap up. 2 cents doesn't seem like much, but it's a good day in my book, that's for sure. All right, and here on the stone wall where we started the video is the small pile of treasures. And as I had mentioned earlier, a lot of these things are very common for a place this age, but there's quite a few surprises as well. In the way back, we have the pot handle, the file, an absolutely huge pile of harmonica reed plates, and then off on the side are 2 clock plates as well. This is a pocket watch and this is a mantle clock. Our mystery triangle with the hinges on it, pocket knife that tells an interesting story, oil lamp, spigot, spoon, bridle rosette, a couple suspenders. Not sure I showed that. It's just a pretty decorative, maybe it was a buckle, hard to say. And then down at the bottom, the 2 coins, and probably my favorite find for the day, this little lead toy gun. I've never seen anything like it. It's so interesting. Unfortunately, it's broken, but I'll take it. Pretty standard large cent, and then this one has stamps on it. Not sure what they are right now, not sure their significance. I'm looking forward to doing some research. All right, folks, well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm going to start the long hike out of here. Hopefully, you'll join me next week for another adventure up here in the mountains of Vermont. See you next time.